Well, take a good look out west because it's going to stay this way for quite a while we deal with this high pressure. Now, it's allowing us to cool off a lot cooler than we're forecasting, and then it's allowing us to heat up just as quickly. The 24-hour temperature change is going to give you a good idea of how fast we're cooling off, and we're warming up as winter gets closer and closer, all the way down into those lower 50s. Made a good 40-degree run into those lower 90s, and look how fast we've cooled off, about 20 degrees already. Usually, we're only down about 10, if not 20 degrees, while we see some of that cloud cover push in, but the humidity values definitely drying up as we make our way into October. Not 71 in San Angelo. Everybody else already down in those lower 70s with us. Pretty uniform across the entire region, while those humidity values find their way up with that nighttime cooling. 73 in Sterling City, 70 down there in Junction. We've seen the heat flip from the northwest to the southeast, but of course, we're still on the lookout for some of those more average standard heating and cooling conditions. While you see those dew points still down there in those 40s and those 50s, humidity indices have nearly doubled all the way up into those 40s and those 50s across the entire Concho Valley. We really have our eye on the upper level pattern as we keep track of this high pressure over the entire southern part of the nation. You're going to see it hold most of the storm activity up towards the north, where they're actually slated to see some hard freeze warnings by tonight. It continues to push all these low pressure systems off towards the north, but we have our eye on the tropics, where we could see some circulations try to fight their way up, but steer clear of Texas as we make our way again into October and towards the end of hurricane season. The water vapor really showing you where the dry air is staying along the southern part of the nation, but we're really keeping our eye on some of that circulation again around the Gulf Coast, if not the Caribbean Sea. Seeing that cold front push through, then we have our eye on a few of those concentrations of orange that try to fight their way back as soon as that cold front makes its way somewhere closer towards the weekend. Now, the Atlantic Ocean pretty active right now, but things are going to continue to steer clear of the entire east coast of the United States for now, as hurricane season sort of comes towards an end around November 30th. Severe weather outlook for today, pretty quiet across the entire United States. And when we look at the October rainfall outlook, looking like some below normal rain. We don't really want to see some of these oranges fight their way in, but when we look at the temperatures, we're also seeing the correlation between that hot, dry air and where the high pressure sort of is going to be sitting through the beginning of October. When we take you down to the tropics, we sort of upgraded a category as far as the region that we're keeping our eye on, but again, the disturbance is about a 40% chance of formation in the next 7 days. If somewhere down here around the Caribbean Sea, that kind of gets more organized. Now, we look at the sea surface temperatures. Of course, we're looking for that hurricane fuel. Pretty warm after Helene made her way through. As nighttime cooling sets in, we see those temperatures drop somewhere around the lower 80s, if not upper 70s, but during the day, definitely getting closer towards that 90-degree mark. Now, Helene came through and definitely pulled up some cooler water from some of those lower depths, so a lot of fuel out there. When we look at the satellite, we're seeing those calm conditions and that cold air sinking all the way in. Now, around Tuesday, around lunchtime, that's when we expect to see some of those colder conditions push in. It's going to keep us from seeing any more of those heats pushing up towards those mid-90s. We're watching it pretty variable into tonight, but by tomorrow around lunchtime, take a good look. It'll push down from the north pretty fast, and then it'll calm down somewhere around 10 to 15 miles per hour, cool off by about Tuesday night, and then to Wednesday, things will calm down again. So tonight, we're tracking how cold we get, if not pushing down into those mid-50s, if not a little bit cooler than that. Then tomorrow, a good run at the 90s, but we're expecting some of those cooler winds to push in around that lunchtime. This is exactly how we're going to stay for a week. The thing that has me concerned is how dry we are going to stay without any rain as we continue to hold on to some of those more pleasant conditions, but we have our eye on those overnight lows as they hover around those lower 60s, if not those upper 50s. Stay tuned. One more for the break. You're watching KSAN News at 10.